Morning all, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. I've just woken up to this beautiful view. My new home in the swamp. I started to fence it off with this rather ugly setup here. Ugly and very temporary setup, but just to keep the inhabitants safe from the various nasty things around here. That's just a cat. Anyway, welcome back to ChaosCraft. Yes, as I touched upon in the intro, we will be looking at some more village improvements and settlement improvements. This will not be a village for long. The plans that I've got, we're in a swamp. Okay, we are in a very messy, wet, dangerous place, and that's all part of the fun, really, as far as I'm concerned. Let's tidy this screen up a bit. Right. Okay. There you go, that's better. So it's safe in here now. There is a palisade fence, which is a decorative block, and it's all the way around the edge of the village now, so we should be safe from most things. I think I've got most of the lighting appears to be sufficient. I've got the lighting layer on now, and I can't see everything. There's bound to be some, but I've got rid of most of the trees. There are some outlying leaves that just won't seem to decay for some reason. But ultimately, we've now got a safe place to build in, and the next step is to work out what on earth we're going to do. How do we start? What are my plans? What am I going to build? What's the style? Well, let me tell you a story. I went on my, well, it was actually technically a honeymoon, even though me and my wife have been married for 10 years. It was a 10-year anniversary, but as we never had a honeymoon, we called it that. And we went to Venice in Italy. And it was lovely. Yeah, it's sort of October, Venice. It was just nice and warm, not too warm. And typically my wife read her crime thrillers. What did I do? I read about the history of Venice. I read about how it came to be, and it was fascinating. It was basically a swamp in a lagoon, and it was a place where those inhabitants of the mainland in northeast Italy would flee to every time there was some sort of invaders or attackers. They were basically, they were fleeing for their lives, and they would flee to this swamp in the middle of the lagoon. So maybe like this. And I was also quite interested to find out about the way that they built in a swamp. And basically, there is a region in northern Italy, I think northern Italy, that they would go and get wood from. They would chop trees down, and they would get the tree trunks transported down to the swamp and sink them into the ground. Let me just try and find an example here. So all these bits of water, you would have basically not very good. You don't have a very good surface to build on. So you would in those times, if you were living in early Venice, you would sink wood, timber logs down into the ground as foundations, as sort of very primitive foundations. Sink them into the mud, and whether they realised it or not, but what they were actually doing is by sinking it into the mud, they were preventing oxygen and other stuff getting to the wood and decaying it, so it was actually staying strong, which... yeah, I mean, this is like thousands of years ago, over 1,000 years ago. So it's pretty amazing. And and what did they end up with? Well, the modern Venice of today is pretty much unchanged in many ways. And so you basically got a lot of houses, a lot of weight on top of these wooden piles. And that's one half of what I want to do. That was a long story, I know. But the second half is I've just completed Cyberpunk 2077, the new DLC, Phantom Liberty. Loved it. Absolutely brilliant. But it also inspired me because I wanted to build Venice when I came back from my honeymoon. But equally, I've always wanted to try a cyberpunk style. And I feel with this modded server and the stuff we've got available blockwise and mods and decorations, I think this is the right time for that. And so, let me conclude. This will be a Venice cyberpunk combination. A new Venice, Neo Venice. And yeah, I can't wait to get building. I really can't. I'm looking forward to the challenge. It's not a new it's not a something that I've done before, not something that I've dabbled in. I tend to veer more into the historical sort of architecture, which is what I will do for some of the Venice stuff, but I'm going to basically build Venice with a twist in Minecraft. Venice of the past, but set in the future. And that could be terrible, but it could be great as well. I'm looking forward to just the fact that I'm doing something completely different. And I don't know how much that's been done. You don't see it often. But yeah, any thoughts on styles, examples, people that have done this before and are perhaps a good blueprint to follow? Please pop a comment below. But for now, I need to show you a little bit about some progress on my inventory management craziness. My Hermit Head collection has expanded, as you can see, and I'm still missing my absolute number one priority, and that is Keralis. He is not here. I've not managed to find a wandering trader yet. But there's certainly some blasts from the past here. And yeah, we've got Tango, so we're happy with that. We've got Mumbo and the classic Tash, but no Keralis. Not yet, anyway. The far end of the base, where I originally built my spider farm, I have... Here's a clue. I have built something that I'm thinking will be pretty crucial to my cyberpunky Venice aesthetic, but also actually in terms of practical usage. Applied Energistics. I've done quite a bit of work recently just to get the basics in place, just to do the early Applied Energistics grind off camera, because I did that in my last series. If you do want to have a look at the basics and you want a bit of maybe a helper in terms of how to get going with the mod, then check out my Prominence series. There is an episode, I think probably quite close towards the end of that series, where I go over the basics of Applied Energistics. But that has been done. These botany pots have certainly helped me speed up the progress, but I cannot stand this anymore. And I know, DSL, if you're watching, you will probably agree that this is... It's quite oppressive in a way, but it's also absolutely chaotic, which probably fits in with the name of this server, but there we go. So, what have I done? Well, this is the storage controller down here. Let me just get my HUD back, and I'm pressing all the buttons, not pressing the right ones, and I have run a cable via a storage bus, which is, for those who are aware, basically looks at a Minecraft inventory and actually allows you to access that from your AE2 interface. So underneath that, we've got a pipe with a storage bus running all the way under here, under the floor, all the way up here, and into my AE2 room, where I've been playing around, doing some basic grinding as much as possible. And by the way, how cool is this? We have a Fluix Researcher trade. So you pop a a charger, an AE2 charger, into one of these Easy Villager blocks, and you get access to all these trades, all the stuff that is the grindy side of things taken care of. So I mean, really, these actually aren't that needed. I've been very lucky. I've actually found 6 flawless budding Certus quartz. Yes, 6 of them, which is pretty cool. But you know, after I got all that and I'd found all those meteorites, I found this, and it's much easier. So yeah, I've done the basics. We have a disk drive with a 4K storage cell in it, and it's got some stuff in it, as you could see. But all of this stuff, I think is probably, where is it? From here down, this is all found in those storage drawers, because this pipe or this wire cable that's going under the floor comes into the disk drive, and then I just use this crafted terminal to access it. So I can actually access everything from those drawers from here. So I can just search for, I don't know, maybe I fancy a banana, and there we go, I have a banana. Nice and easy. So that will do for now. That will help me solve the kind of the craziness that is trying to find something with those drawers. And eventually I will actually import everything from them into a disk. Probably needs to be bigger than a 4K storage cell disk. But that will mean I can just take them over to my new base once I have the appropriate infrastructure in place there. But yeah, that's coming on very nicely. I've got into AE2 much earlier than I did in the last series that I did. I know DSL's pretty keen on this as well. I think Sandy and Lovejoy I'm not so sure. I don't think Lovejoy knows much about it, seeing as he asked me if I was talking about Age of Empires when I asked him about this mod. But Sandy might do. I don't know. We'll see. But it's just a great help. Mass storage. It's easy to find and access stuff. But when you've got mods to the amount that we have, it's going to be invaluable. So that's quite exciting. For this AE2 setup, I'm currently powered by this vibration chamber, which is coal powered. I've got absolutely tons of coal. It does keep running out, which is taking my system offline, which is pretty annoying. But yeah, I can probably look into some more sustainable versions of power for this soon. But the next thing I want to do is start to automate the harvesting of these blocks. So we've got amethyst, budding amethyst, and we've got the Certus crystals, and I've cleared most of them up. They're in boxes. Yeah, in fact, these are all so flawless budding Certus, and we should have an amethyst in there. No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, I thought I'd got one, but there we go. It's there. So what I want to do is automate the harvesting of these things. AE2 is brilliant for that because it's got a block called the Annihilation Plane. So this dramatic word, effectively, it's a block here. Here we go. We can open the... Oh no, I need to disconnect from the search. So if I hold W, it's a bit like creates ponder system. This breaks blocks and picks up items. So what I mean is I can face this towards the crystals or the sides of the budding ores that are growing the crystals, and as long as I've got the I'm not sure what the term is, but the section of the network configured so that it only accepts the final mature growth stage. So once it goes into or beyond the large bud to an actual crystal, then it will mine it and it will start regrowing it again. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. So probably going to be popping this in the ground here. So let's do that. There we go. So we've got a flawless, I mean obviously there's many sides, there's 6 sides and only one is being exposed to grow. But we'll make up with that. It looks a bit tidier than having these floating around, but we'll make up for that with some devices that will really help the speed of the growth of these crystals. And those devices are called growth accelerators. These things sit to the side and just face the budding Certus quartz blocks, and will do some sort of magic with electricity, with energy, and make the quartz crystals or clusters grow faster. The best thing is that this can be very simple because this is flawless, which means it will not degrade or break, whereas any other grade of these budding quartz blocks will eventually, they'll run out of steam and they will stop producing crystals, whereas this will never do that because it's flawless, it's perfect. And all the ones, I've only ever collected flawless ones for this world because I've learned the lesson in the past. It can be very complicated trying to build this without having to renew it all the time. It's a bit of a pain. So I'm going flawless only. I'm just going to do one for now. I need to craft the ingredients for the growth accelerator and the annihilation plane. Then I'll come back to you. Okay, I've created crafted the growth accelerators. They're all in place now, and I am just going to focus on one at the moment, which will be this one. Just a couple of things to note that I need to work out. First of all, I've not done this before, so this is going to be a learning experience for me. But these purple sides are where the power, there's one at the bottom and one at the top of the way I placed these blocks. So I actually need to power these blocks, but I'm going to do that on a separate cable run than the items that will be harvested from it that will go through. So I need to actually dig out a hole underneath the ground to ensure that all of these have got sufficient power, and I'll probably just link it up to a separate vibration chamber because of the fact I've just got so much coal with those botany pots. So that's one thing, you need to power these separately. The annihilation plane itself is basically just a in fact you can't see it that way, it's just like a flat screen, and yeah, I've just had a panic then that I'd actually just got rid of it completely and that I needed to still touch it. Thankfully not. So this will look at the crystals, and it can also be, and here's a tip for you that may have used it before, you can enchant it. You can add Fortune 3. So we then have a Fortune 3 annihilation plane. So even better, you know, this is not just going to be super fast growth because of these things, but we should also get more drops from it as well. So first of all, I need to work out how to place this, which I think you can just do that way. So it's, I think that is facing the right way, and then it should be a matter of okay. To do that, if you have cables going where you don't want them to go, then tip from me is turn your backpack magnet off, actually, first of all, because that is a right pain. Where's it gone? There it is. So we'll go back to where we were, plug that in. So that's good. But if you don't want it to connect to something, then you need to craft, and I don't know where they are. There they are. Cable anchors. And these are very, very useful tools in that they will actually help you. So if I was to pop that there and then place the cable, it will not connect. So basically it stops the cable from connecting to something that you don't want it to connect to. So what we'll do, so bear in mind that the items are going to go through this particular route. We will simply drop it down into there. That will then follow along underneath here into here. So it says device online, which is great. It means I haven't run out of channels. And channels are a thing that are a bit of a pain, if I'm honest, but I think with no actual in fact, I don't even know what the block's called. It is the colourful one. The colourful one, where is it? They're all colourful. Okay. There it is, the controller. So this is basically allows you to have more devices on the same subnet, which is the I guess the section of the network that you want. Another little tip for those who like things to look nice is you can create cable facades, which this is a glass one, so it's what I've been using so far. But you can make it in any texture you want. So the glass can be, I could make it the same as the oak planks there. So we could hide it completely if we wanted to. Not going to at the moment. We can even put it on the sides of things, which is pretty good. So yeah, it gives you quite a lot of control over the way that things look and the aesthetics, which will become increasingly more important to me in my new place. I have dug this out underneath the cable that I was showing you just now. We have a vibration chamber up here, which I will just, while I remember it, I'm just going to pop some coal in there. So that's powered, and it's easy to fuel up from above here. That's where we were before. And if we go back down there, I just need to connect up the cables without connecting to these, because all this one will do, all this subnet will do, and I can colour it differently if I wanted to. All this subnet will do is power the growth accelerators. That's the word I'm looking for, like so. So it says these devices are offline. Is this actually, the vibration chamber's offline as well? Okay. Do I need to do something else? What have I forgotten to do? Perhaps I'm using the wrong cable for power. Quite a while later, I've managed to crack it. It was a power issue, and didn't have enough power to. These growth accelerators must be quite thirsty for the power. So I've managed to sort that out, and we have underneath here. Will you be quiet, please? I'm trying to talk. We have a. I can look. No, let's just go down there. We have everything now running into the main system over here. So every time it breaks the crystal, it will send the powder that comes from it into storage there, which is pretty cool. There is an option if you want to actually harvest the mature, fully grown crystals, but I don't, in short, because there we go, it's working now, because they're easy to trade for, they're cheap to trade for, whereas the powder actually takes a little bit of work in the inscriber to melt or burn down into powder. So this is actually preferable, and it's actually easier to set up as well, because it just harvests it as soon as a bud appears on that rock. But as you can see, it's pretty quick. Every time you hear that noise, it's sending a Certus quartz dust into the storage. Amazing, okay? It's pretty cool. One last thing, I've actually added a pressure plate here with a toggle bus underneath, which will turn off the machine. So one of the things about this server that I'm very keen on is lag-friendly, server-friendly machines wherever possible. And so this, by default, will be off this part of the AE2 network. So if I step away from the pressure plate, it will stop working because it's cut the power off. Step back on again, and then it will start working again. Nice and easy. So it will only work while I'm here, but that's fine. That's all I need. I don't need crazy amounts of this either. So the other thing I'll be doing is the same with amethyst. I probably need to think about this a bit more, because I do want the actual amethysts, the mature amethyst crystals that come through. I don't think you get anything. You don't get anything, do you, with just the... No, you get nothing. So, yeah, so I'm going to need to actually use some filters on that to make sure it only harvests it when it's fully grown. I think I'm pretty much done here now. We have a little bit of a change of plan. So the amethyst yeah, the clusters and the annihilation planes, they don't work. The annihilation planes just annihilate any form of it. It doesn't seem to detect the growth stages. So I don't think it works. There must be some other trickery that I'll need to look at. But for now, I've just focused on these. So we have some these are fully grown, but because the machine's off, because I'm not standing on that plate, they won't be harvested. Right, so we are now good to go. I'm going to stand on the plate. We should see some fairly fast growing crystals. Once it gets going, there we go. You see they're growing quite fast. And then as soon as they get to the mature stage, then bang. Go on. Don't leave me hanging. So this is currently, this machine is very clever. Well, it's not that clever, but it is for me. It's currently in Certus quartz crystal mode. And it's, as you can see, it's filling up this storage drawer with Certus quartz crystals. I've doubled the efficiency of this, because not only do I have 2 of them up here, but also downstairs we have 2 more. We have bottom and top, so we have annihilation planes down here. So yes, lots of crystals, and also I've also dyed the pipes. The glass cable is now pink, and it just separates what is the item retrieval from everything else. Basically, the purple is where everything goes into mass storage, or network storage to use the official term, which is why we have this switch here, which turns, basically, it stores it at the moment in these drawers. They're kind of like a buffer storage, and then as soon as I switch that switch, it will then send them into the main storage area. And as you can see, 800, 549, 573. I'm doing pretty well in terms of stocks. The other and possibly best feature of this farm is because the dust is also incredibly useful. Flick this switch, toggling the output, and this will now create dust. And it will basically annihilate anything that grows, and we get dust from that. It's a lot faster. As you can see, it's up to 25 in no time. And yes, so we basically have a dual mode farm, which does its job really easily. All I've got to do is stand here. And lastly, let's just send all of this stuff to storage. It's not the fastest. I have it's an input bus on the side of these drawers, but I could accelerate them with upgrades if need be, but I'm not that fussed. This is only a temporary setup until I move. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice the second disc in this drive. I have added, on top of my 4K, which is maxed out, I have added a 256K whopper of a drive. Now this is a special disc. It's a deep item storage disc. Or disc. This is from AE2 Things, which is kind of like an add-on mod, and it effectively removes the item count, or type, I think is, type. See, in this one here, which is the sort of more AE2 standard drive, you have a limitation on types. This removes that, so you've got no type limitations. It's just byte storage. So yes, it's the largest drive I think you can build. You can craft, but it's also got a restriction removed, which is pretty handy. I need to somehow work out how to get everything onto there, but as you can see, it's pretty full, and that is because I have imported everything from here into AE2 storage. So I have digitized all my items onto one disk drive. Well, it will be one disk drive when I merge them together, but how empty it looks around here. It's quite sad, really. Fond memories. But yes, it's the only way I can move easily is by putting it all on a disk, and I've only got one item to carry rather than hundreds of thousands of the things. And on that note, it's time to say goodbye for this episode. We are rapidly running out of time. We are being interrupted by spiders dying. There we go. And yeah, just to say goodbye, just to say thank you. It's been fun playing around with AE2 again. I've sped through the basics. I'll spend a little more time, share a little bit more building tips with you as I learn them for the more advanced side of AE2. But for now, it's the end for the episode. And next time we'll move. We will move to our new place and we will have some great deal of fun doing that. And maybe even go on a few more adventures. I'm trying to sort of balance out the adventuring with the building and the tech mod exploration, but having a great time doing it. Thanks everyone. You take care now. See you next time. Bye.